Ho, 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 ho.
Screw your freedom.
Consider this your trigger warning. The following program is strictly satire and is not meant to be taken seriously. So don't get all butthurt, you liberal snowflakes, just because we skewer your sacred cows and expose all your lies and hypocrisy. Truth hurts, and so does satire. So grab a drink, pull up a chair, and enjoy the show.
Well, welcome back to the Prepared Mind channel. We have had a few days off, as many of you have noted. Apparently, the powers that be within social media are not very happy with the world right now. We could once talk about some things that now I can no longer use the V word when referring to the Jim Jones juice. I can no longer use the COVID word when I refer to cerveza bug. And I'm not going to be surprised in the least if sometime in the next few weeks they decide that we're not allowed to talk about elections again because of what is going on and what is going to happen soon. It is a wild. So they gave me the strike on Monday against last Sunday's show. So they said you have to wait till all the way till the middle of next Monday before you can start. So here we are with a special Monday Night Live presentation of the zoo. And we've got a lot to talk about. Now, first off, if you subscribe to the preparedmind.club, the premium there, $2 a month, or subscribestar.com, $2 premium a month, one or the other, and you can be here Monday through Friday, even if I get a strike on YouTube. That's the deal. Even if I get a strike on YouTube, I'm still live the other side. I'm just talking to just the premium people. And when we were on Patreon, we had a really big, enormous Patreon crowd. And it did very well for us when YouTube gave us strikes until Patreon decided they were going to play the same game. Only they didn't give strikes. They just killed us. So here we are, folks. Thepreparedmind.club, subscribestar.com. And if I get another strike within, I think, the next 3 months, they'll shut me down for 2 weeks. 2 weeks. They're letting us know that they're going to give us the censorship they've always felt we should have. They are assholes. Anyways, that being said, we've got a lot to discuss here. A lot of things are going on here nationally, internationally, etc. So we're going to start the show off with Darcy T. And she did a $50 super chat donation via PayPal. And any donation, $50 or bigger, buys me a Glenlivet 15-year single malt scotch. Now, so this is going to get me all warmed up and lubed up. If you've got something to say, you got to hit that super chat button right up there. It says super chat. And I'll get you on the screen down here. Woo-hoo-hoo. All righty, that's a good start there. Now, if you don't want to do PayPal, or I'm sorry, the super chat button, down below is CashApp, Venmo, PayPal, or the preparedmind.club. 4 different ways you can do super chats that way and get us your questions, and I'll get you on the screen and make you famous. Now, I'm going to start with Darcy T's question, and she has a humdinger. She says, the New World Order crowd has been after Assad of Syria for many years. She's talking about the former leader, Bashar al-Assad of Syria. Darcy says, I recall multiple attempts to topple his regime since the 90s. Now that he's been ousted, what do you suppose will happen to Syria? And what might Iran's next move be, since their allies are dropping like flies? Well, this entire episode is incredible and full of all kinds of oddities, like Bashar al-Assad's troops They all laid their weapons down, their uniforms down in a pile, and walked away. After all of these years, after all of these decades, after Barack Obama and Senator John McCain and all of these war hawk, war chicken, rhino neocons and Democrat neocons that just want war, funding, literally funding. And if you go all the way back to the Benghazi episode, when Obama was president and Hillary was Secretary of State, what we found out there was they were sending weapons from Libya to Al-Qaeda in Syria to fight Bashar al-Assad's troops. And the world went, hey, what? Al-Qaeda? And literally, the U.S. government came out and said, no, this is the good Al-Qaeda. As if there's a good terror organization out there. Unfreaking believable. They've been fighting a long time. A long time. Right? When Trump took office, we had, now Russians have a seaport and Russians have an air base there. Vladimir Putin, who I said is pretty close with Erdogan, leader of Turkey. But Erdogan is shitting on everybody around him and has been for years and years. He just recently shit on Russia. And he wants, Erdogan wants part of Syria. Israel, as soon as Syria let go, Bashar went to Russia and has asylum there. So Israel has moved in and started carpet bombing terror stashes of weapons. But they want a buffer zone between Damascus and themselves. So they're going to take territory. I remember Turkey. Turkey was threatening Israel. Turkey pissed off Russia. Turkey pissed off Greece. And they were marching illegals. They were marching immigrants through Turkey and trying to stuff them into Greece so that Greece had to deal with them. And Greece was like, they were building a wall. They were building fences. They were bringing in concrete, trying to stop these foreign invaders. Funny how that's what they do. These Muslim foreign invaders, they just invade your fucking country. So Syria, what is Syria about? Syria is about an oil pipeline or two that the West, meaning Europe and the deep state in Washington, D.C., the bankers, they want that oil from the Middle East, Qatar, and other countries to get piped through, up, around, and through Syria. That's where the bottleneck was. And they want to sell that oil to Europe. They want to tell Russia, we are not buying your oil. We don't need you anymore. So we're going to continue to have some serious, serious problems here. They blew up Putin's Nord Stream 1 and Nord Stream 2 pipelines. It was the single most, we'll use the term, expensive terror event ever pulled off on the planet, to the tune of trillions of dollars in lost revenue and damage, and in Europe, increased energy costs that have just crushed their economy, especially Germany. That's what this is about. It's about oil. It's about energy. It's about control. It's about oil, energy, and control. So the United States wants to maintain their control. And by the way, they're installing their puppet terrorist leader in Syria, the same way they had they gave up on Afghanistan and the Taliban. Hey, welcome Taliban. You can be in charge in Kandahar. And fuck all the money we spent. What they want is terror organizations in these countries. And for some reason, they think that's great. For some reason. Now, are all the refugee Syrians, are they going to go back to Syria now and leave Norway and Sweden and Finland and England and Ireland and Scotland and Denmark and Germany and Spain and France? And are they going to leave? Seems like everyone from that fucking country was there. You know who else is going to leave? They're going to leave this earth without their bodies. the Christians in Syria are going to get slaughtered. And Bashar al-Assad, for whatever faults he had, was at least protecting the Christians there. Those days are going to be over, folks. Entire villages have already been wiped out years past in Syria. These aren't good people. They rape women. They cut the heads off of children. They murder children. These are awful fucking people. The entire Middle East. Now, Trump has taken a unique position in this and said, we don't like either side. Let them deal with their own problems. It's like, hey, makes perfect sense. Finally, we get someone that makes sense. How about that? Uman says, I'm sure it'll be different this time if we just throw enough money at it. Oh, yeah. They just never did it the right way before. Well, in the early 1980s, to combat Iran, the United States government funded and threw money at, drum roll please, Saddam Hussein. That's right, the madman Saddam Hussein, until it was convenient a dozen years later to say that he's the enemy and we need to invade his country and try and get rid of him. And they let him live another dozen years, and then they invaded again in the Second Gulf War and confiscated all of his gold and took the money for the oil. And yeah, here we are. Here we still are, folks. What a crazy, crazy, crazy setup. Get your thoughts in. Get them down below. Do a super chat, and we'll put you on the screen here. I need chin music also, Mr. Uman. I'd like to do him next if we got him handy. Nothing from Chin? All right. Chin Music has done a $52.43 super chat donation, I believe. And we'll just have to wait on that, see if we can get him on. He said he'd be busy a little bit. He'd be in. Just thought he might have sent something through. Not yet. So let's do this. Monday Night Live. You guys are in charge of the show. Who wants to be up next on the show? Uman's got somebody. And we have bump. Dan the Man steps in with a $5 super chat donation. He says, what is a Joe Biden, a Bo Jiden preemptive pardon? Well, that's where Joe Biden says, well, nobody's being charged with the crime yet, but just in case, I'm going to give him a blanket pardon, a preemptive pardon for any crimes the people that I name may have committed. And I don't think that this is legal in all truth. I don't think that what was done for Hunter was legal either, in all truth, saying, I'm going to give you a blanket pardon for everything you did back to 2014. You're supposed to pardon people who have been convicted. So this preemptive pardon, the more I've researched it, the less I find it valid, because a pardon should be specific and name a person and a crime. A person and a crime. And I also don't think you can pardon treason. Treason isn't just a high crime. Treason is the ultimate high crime against a nation. But let's just stick with your question there, Big Dan, and a Bo Jiden preemptive pardon. Well, Nancy Pelosi has been doing insider trading. Kash Patel, and Donald Trump are already talking about Joe Biden, him wanting to give pardons for insider trading. I think he wants to give them pardons for everything they've done in Ukraine. I think he wants to give them pardons for all of their pizza and hot dogs. That is to say, all of their pedophilia. He wants to give them all a preemptive blanket pardon. And he's talking about Merrick Garland, Obama, everybody in the administration. One number was actually thrown out there, folks. That number was 10,000 different people in Washington, D.C. If he does that, I will laugh my ass off, because it'll show that you were right. You, Dan, me, Uman, everybody if he wants to pardon another half dozen, another dozen, another 100, 1,000 people, it just goes to show that, yeah, they're that fucking guilty. They know Trump is going to come after him, not Trump himself, but his Justice Department. And that's just it. Trump has now stepped back and said, hey, I'm not doing anything, right? We got an attorney general who can prosecute, have an FBI who can investigate and refer criminal activity to the attorney general. That's how it's supposed to work. Trump doesn't need to name anybody, as we've discussed. Kash Patel is very well aware of who's done what. Pam Bondi is very well aware of who's done what, and she better get her head all the way out because it's game time. I think Kash Patel has had his head all the way out. And Alina Habba is also now on board in the administration, and she has been extremely loyal and loud. So a preemptive pardon, that's just a way to protect everyone that's ever taken care of you. I don't think it is legal. I don't. I'm wondering if the Supreme Court is going to have to weigh in on this, but we're going to have to wait till he gives one out. They're not going to give a preemptive opinion on something that hasn't been done yet, right? And that's just it. Nobody has charged these people with anything yet. So how can you pardon them? If a specific crime isn't named, if charges haven't been levied, if no one's been arrested, right? No one's been arraigned. So how can we do this? It's going to get stupid, folks. It's going to get stupid. And while we're talking right now, it is on East Coast time, 6:15. Now, earlier today, Daniel Penny has been found not guilty. And immediately afterwards, the Black Lives Matter mouthpieces were out there calling for violence, telling the so-called Black community, that would be a community of BLM arsonists, Antifa terrorists, letting them know it's time for vigilante justice. And they called for violence. I don't know why this motherfucker is not arrested. Him and his ilk calling for violence. Right? They think that if anyone feels threatened by, get this, anyone feels threatened by a white person, well, we need to choke them out. Because that's what happened to their guy. Right? The dad is out there. The father of the man who died from a fentanyl overdose. He's acting like he is really heartbroken. This guy didn't raise his son, abandoned him. He's been a criminal living on the streets for 10 years, and now he wants to give a shit. All he does is he got his hand out looking for money. Typical trash. What is a Bo Biden preemptive pardon? I tell you what, Dan, a Bo Biden preemptive pardon is, hey, I'm going to take care of those who take care of the Democrat way. And these BLMers, guess what? And Antifa and all of these angry white liberal LGB types, you got it. They want their vengeance. And the Democrat Party, they're going to be happy to let them start tearing up the city and making Trump look bad somehow, some way. Dan, this is all Trump's fault. Anyways, we're up at 300 people live on a Monday night live. That's fantastic. I'm back. I never left. You guys should just be premium members at thepreparedmind.club. It's only $2 a month, and it would save. When I get a strike, and there's going to be more coming, I'm pretty sure of it. The hate is on, folks, and the heat is being turned up. So let's do it, Mr. Uman. Who wants to step up next? And it's Nancy Keg with a $20 super chat donation. And she says, to my Prepared Mind family, I missed you all. Give it hell tonight, John. Oh, I'm going to give them hell, Nancy. I'm going to give them hell. I am ready for all of this shit, folks. I'm ready. Are you prepared? Now, down where I live, I didn't see one picket sign. I didn't see one person with a BLM anything or Black Lives Matter. Nothing. I think this is all going to start up in northern cities, and they're going to see how much they can really get themselves worked into a tizzy. Oh, by the way, I did say Israel did some bombing there in Syria. So did the United States military, folks. They launched some strikes into Syria, and they're getting more and more and more backlash. Yes, they are. Thank you, man. They're getting back. Why? Because Trump is trying to get us out of the Middle East bullshit. And the big question is, well, what are we going to do about Iran? We're going to have to wait and see. That's Trump's job. He gets to deal with Iran. That's his job to deal with that crap. And he will. But starting a bombing run in the Middle East alongside Israel is not going to go over real well with these other nations, right? So, yeah, we've got, let's see, Russia was in there bombing a few days ago. Now Israel, now Syria. I'm sorry, now the U.S. in Syria. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. I know that they were going after at one point Hezbollah, and it is a shit show. In fact, the new leader of Syria, have you seen him? Have you seen a side-by-side picture of him next to Voldemort Zelensky? They could be brothers. Put one of those ridiculous, stupid jihadi beards on Mr. Z, and he would pass. He would pass for a Middle Eastern terrorist, the little freak. And he's kissing everyone's ass trying to make money. In fact, I heard that Zelensky owns property, a very expensive property in Florida. I'm going to keep an eye out for that, see if I can find it. At him and Pelosi, I think they both need to have people picketing outside their houses, screaming and yelling at them all night long. I think they've probably earned that, don't you? Anyways, in any event, we need to have some more fun here, folks. We got lots to talk about on this Monday Night Live. And where are we going? There we go. Oh, this is funny. 1 second. Mr. Uman, I know we're ready. I know we're set. And we got Dan Erickson back again. Let's see. Just 1 minute. It is giving me hell. Inbox. Do. Well, we're going to go with that. Very frustrating. Let's hear it for technology, right? Let's see. There we go. Dan, the man Erickson's back with a $5 super chat. And he says, that kid that shot the insurance CEO has been caught. Yes, he has. He has been caught. Isn't that interesting? You guys know his name, right? Oh, he's a handsome devil. And he's also quite a left-wing lunatic. That's right. That's right. Luigi Mangione, right? He actually had, get this, Dan, he had a YouTube video that was going to be released after his arrest. Allegedly, he had a video, right? This kid, young man, and he's spewing left-wing Marxist crap. He was Ivy League for a while, meaning he was going and someone was funding his high-dollar education. But this guy, he was a person of interest. I thought they were being smarter than this. I thought he was using a fake mask of someone else. I can't believe that he's that stupid, except now that I know he's a liberal, he's that stupid. He was born and raised in Maryland. What's that tell you? The family, he's not a nobody. People know about his family. In fact, he's related to a Maryland state legislator, person from the legislature. Isn't that interesting? This guy, folks, this is what he has to say. Right? He loved the Unabomber, by the way. But here's his quote. When all other forms of communication fail, violence is necessary to survive. I'm going to have to remember that one. That actually sounds legitimate. But I don't know if all other forms of communication have failed. You see, when it's more like when the left doesn't get their way after they told you what they want, they think that their lives are over and it's time to start using violence, right? So he did a Goodreads review on the Unabomber's manifesto, and he has his 2.5 manifesto. Isn't it funny how these leftists, they get violent and they write a manifesto like the trans murderer, the trans mass murderer that killed those little children at a church and killed adults at a church. That person had a manifesto, and the police hid that and hid it because they know that we all are going to realize, Dan and everyone else, that these people are all left-wing murderous psychopaths. That's exactly what they are. Unbelievable. I mean, get this. Thank you for the great super chat, Dan. Everyone else who's up next, super chat button right up there is how you get on the screen, and we'll make you famous. We'll have some fun. And the topics, folks, the topics. We got some topics. I mean, these left-wing people are ready to lose their shit at any moment. Tim Walz, that's right, Twinkle Toes, Tampon Timmy Walz. His daughter is now out in the media, and she has a red flag for dating, for being around men. And if a guy follows or listens to Joe Rogan on Instagram, that's a red flag. And she says, quote, it truly is a litmus test because of, misinformation. So now Joe Rogan is on the misinformation list. That means, well, Joe Rogan is, and Alex Jones is, and you guys all are, and I'm on the list. I think this is good, though. Republican men need red flags. We need to understand to identify these loser Democrats. And I think that you really should. If you're going to date somebody, be very clear who you are right up front. Tell them you love Joe Rogan, you love President Trump. Just right out the gate. Save yourself the time, the money, everything else. Save yourself time, save yourself money. Who cares what the other person looks like? Whether he's super handsome and has a great job, or she's really attractive and she's got a great job. Who cares? Because they're fucking crazy. Can you imagine the daughter of Tim Walz and the way her brain works? She's like, do I go out with the girls tonight or I go to the barn with daddy? Really, right? Truly embarrassing. But they don't know any different, folks. That's all they know is their insanity. And we have an entire world full of insanity right now. And Trump is building a team, an administration, a leadership panel in D.C. that is scaring the ever-loving shit out of not only the Democrats, but the Republicans also. And I'll tell you what, the Senate is going to confirm Pete Hegseth. Even that rotten bitch Joni from Iowa, Senator Joni, who celebrates LGBTQIA+ and gender transition surgeries in the military. Yeah, and she was former officer in the military, folks. And she's for that shit and claims to be a Republican. Really? Well, she says, after all the backlash, I guess me and Pete will be meeting again next week to see if we can, come to terms with some of my problems that I have. There are Democrats that are going to vote for him, folks. There are Democrats. And all the Republicans are going to vote for Pete Hegseth. That's a John prediction. Because if they don't, Trump is going to dismiss the Senate and he's going to do recess appointments. And if he doesn't go that way, He'll just do temporary appointments. And the heads are going to roll. And guess who is going to get in trouble? I think these lefties and these rhino rats, Republicans against Trump, these rats, I think that they should be prosecuted anyway. Even if they say, yeah, Kash Patel, you're in. Yeah, Pete, you're in. Right? The director of national intelligence, DNI, was going to be Tulsi Gabbard. They are saying that, no, she's a Russian asset. This coming from the same people who are Russian assets. What a clit stinger, right? And Swallowswell are saying she's a Russian asset. The entire Washington is in hysteria right now, folks, because Trump is going to come get them. They're scared to death. Now, I'll be shocked and I'll be pissed, but I won't be surprised if we get totally just hamstrung some way. But so far, and I don't know if you all paid attention. I know Uman's been paying attention. I've been paying attention all the way through the campaign this time, all the way up to the election, through the election, after the election. Guess what? At every turn, Trump outsmarted them, outmaneuvered them, outplayed them, outclassed them. Right? They wanted to bring in these illegals and say it wasn't a problem. And then they started eating the cats. They did the eating the pets thing. And that had the cat and duck and doggy and puppy memes coming out. Then they killed Peanut the squirrel and the raccoon. Was it Freddy? Freddy the raccoon. Anyways, they killed him. That turned into a pro-Trump thing. Then they tried saying we're garbage. And so Trump got a fucking garbage truck. Everything they tried, he turned it around on them. And it went just crazy. And they tried to cheat for her. They tried to fucking cheat for her and couldn't cheat enough to even make it close. They couldn't. Don't kid yourself, folks. They tried fucking cheating. In fact, we now have evidence from Orange County, California. Huge, huge, huge news. Huge news. Massive ballot discrepancies have been uncovered. Folks, in California, it's gotten out. In Orange County, which is a very conservative county. And it could end up overturning U.S. House seats that were Republican. And then after 2-3 weeks of counting votes, in the last case, 4 weeks, they kept counting votes. And they got the Democrats in and replaced Republicans. If this isn't obvious, well, the ballot discrepancies are crazy. Number one, Trump smashed the hell out of Kamala in Orange County. Number two, they had way too many people voting for the number of people who are registered. That's a big whoops, right? Statistically, it's just not possible, especially with Trump winning the presidential side. There's no way. There is absolutely no fucking way. And so we could end up with those seats either being overturned or a special election, and there needs to be people getting prosecuted immediately, because that's a federal election. That makes it a federal crime. Big, wild, crazy shit going on, folks. I'm telling you, it's going to get nasty. The Democrats are scared. The rats are scared. Antifa is scared, but they'll get a pass for the next, month and 20 days. Nope, month and 11 days. 1 month and 11 days till January 20th. But they're going to get active, folks. They're going to get crazy. I need you to be strong like a piece of steel. All right, man, do we have some super chats out there? What's going on? Whoa, Shelly Chavers is in with a Christmas $50 super chat donation. And we have 360 people live right now on a Monday night. I think that if we hit 400, that'll be a record. Make sure you thumbs up the video, share the internet address. Let's get to 400, and that will be a Monday night record. So Shelly does a $50 super chat. That means I get a drink of Christmas scotch. Ho, ho, ho. It's been a merry fall and a merry election, and we're going to have one hell of a good time. Here it is, Shelly. Semper Fi to you. Down the hatch. Prost. God bless America. Oh, woo! Shelley said, this took an act of Congress to get it sent to you. I appreciate that, Shelley. An actual act of Congress to get me a shot. Woo! Warms the heart and puts a smile on my liver. She said, glad you're back. Tried several times. Little do they know I am persistent. Thank you, Shelley, for your persistence, for your patriotism, for your dedication. That's the thing, is we're all dedicated to America. We love America. We're willing to go through all of this to fight for it. That's how valuable it is. It's incredible. Shelley, if you've got a question, a comment on current events or how to prep, why to prep, where to prep, get that in as well. We'll slip you back in there. And Uman has the other donation areas for CashApp, Venmo, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Wow, folks, I tell you, that was a good scotch. We have nothing but trouble coming. It is brewing. Nothing but trouble. Thumbs up, share that internet address, and questions down below. Ooh, man, let's do another super chat. Oh, no. Oh, Dan, the man is back with his $50 super chat. I'm going to be a little bit lipped. We got 4 shots in 37 minutes. And yeah, that's done me in for sure. All right. Well, I got warmed up Saturday night. We had a Christmas party. And it was rough. So Dan the man says, ScrewTube punished you for what? Hopefully when the new administration gets in, our First Amendment will be protected again. Did you hear what Canada did to the Pew Pew owners? Number 1, Mr. Dan, down the hatch. Oh, just wow, like mother's milk. All right, number 1, ScrewTube punished me for saying the VAX word. That's right. They don't want anybody discussing it, even though nation after nation is coming out and saying, no more, not good, lawsuits, arrests, trials, public apologies. That's what's going on. Even in America here, the same things are happening, but we're not allowed to talk about it. It. Right? That's what they punished me for. That's what they said. Right? Now, I really believe that this is interesting. We are on the internet. It is supposed to be regulated by the federal government. We are now, according to many experts, the media. You, Dan, you, Shelley, you, Darcy, you, Nancy, all of us, Chin Music, all of us are the media now. We can gather news, we can report, we can offer opinions and insights, additional information. We're the media. And they are censoring the media. Yeah, no, so, folks, I do understand. It's their platform, it's their YouTube, it's their social media company, but they're getting special privilege from the government also. That's right, they're getting special privilege from the government. And they cannot censor us unless they act like a publisher. Well, if they're the publisher, then they're also liable for everything that happened anyways. It's a shit show and it needs to be sorted out. It needs to be sorted out. I mean, they want to tell us what was said 250 years ago when they did the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence. They can't even figure out how to deal with their own shit storm they made this time. But speaking of Second Amendment, and they can't figure that one out, Canada told their gun owners, and they named a swath of weapons as assault weapons. And we need to confiscate them. You have to turn them in. This is what Canada did to their gun owners. Turn in all your weapons. Turn them in a bunch more. They're taking even more from Canada. And you know why? They're going to give them to Ukraine to fight the Russians. Now, this is not an exaggeration. Everyone knows who Vladimir Putin is. He's a very stoic, introverted leader, very quiet, patient. He's one of those chess playing types. Got all his moves that he has before he starts playing, so he knows what he can do and can't. Well, he's sitting at a table and other Russians were sitting there and they read this news story and even identified one of the models, rifle models, that is being sent to Ukraine. And Putin started laughing and put his face down in his hands on the desk, laughing, because one of the guns they're sending over to Ukraine that they're confiscating is a 22. Now, no doubt 22s are dangerous, but you're not going to win a war with 22 caliber pew-pews. Not going to happen. Unbelievable. Yeah, we need our First Amendment rights protected, strengthened. The idea and concept behind the Constitution, Dan and everyone, the concept was to protect the people from government abuse, from tyranny. It was set up in spirit to protect us. It didn't say, hey, government, find a loophole. Hey, government, change some words. Hey, government, see if you can get around this. The spirit of the law is free speech first. Free speech first, not, well, you can say a little of this and a little of that, but the government really gets to be the ultimate arbiter. No. Free speech first. The Second Amendment first. The protection of our Fourth and Fifth Amendments. The Sixth and the Seventh, the Eighth, the Ninth, the Tenth. All of these should always be found leaning strongly and heavily towards protecting the people and protecting the states from the federal government and its overreach. It should never be the government gets all the leeway until it runs into some really hard language. Well, how about this fucking hard language? The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. That's pretty fucking hard. It's right there. Shall not be infringed. Not maybe not, or hey, think about it before you infringe. Shall not. There needs to be consequences also for violating our rights. There needs to be consequences. If you're in business and you do something wrong, there's a very big negative consequence. If you're in government and you screw up, there's no consequences. Nobody gets in trouble. So there is no, at this time, there's nothing to dissuade them from trying again and again and again and naming federal judges that hate the Constitution and hate you. That's what government does, folks. That's why shit has hit the fan. That's why we're here today, where we're at. That's why we're here today. Whoa, feeling that scotch tonight, folks. Had some spaghetti and meatballs with a salad for dinner. So I'm all set. I've got my punch counter punch on my scotch. But you guys, this is your show. What do we want to talk about? What's on your mind? What are you thinking about? We have 376, 77, 78 people live. So we got more people coming on. Be sure to thumbs up if you're new. If you want to comment down below, you've got to be a subscriber to do that. And if you want to get on the screen and have me talk about your question with thousands of people, you've got to hit the super chat button right up there. So that's how this game works. All right, let's do it. Uman says we've got Shelly. And she says, not just the VAX word, but the, oh, yeah, I can't say ANRM. Can't say that one either. Anything that could be, the bad stuff, the misinformation. So Shelly says this, whatever don't work, ICU downtown Houston anymore. And oops, yeah, I probably can't even say those. Those chemicals. I can't say those. I bet that, well, I can say zinc and vitamin C and vitamin D, but the big I word and the big H word, even though doctors everywhere are saying good, research scientists everywhere are saying good, just not the ones who work for the pharmaceutical companies. They're saying that's bad. You need to take the Jim Jones juice. That's what they're saying. This fight is about our health. It is incredible, folks. Oh, by the way, Speaking of the there it is, ANRM, reverse those letters. Speaking of that, we've had people dying of what's called turbo cancer. And the experts that I would listen to are saying we are now in the phase where that starts to pick up very quickly. It's been slowly ramping up, but it's supposed to really start to take off. How fast? I don't know. For how long? I don't know. How many people die? I don't know. What I do know is that nobody has taken the ANRM, reverse those letters. Nobody has given that to a test animal and had it live more than 5 years. Unbelievable. That's right, folks. And they're still bragging about it. They're still bragging about taking it. I took it. And all of you bad people out there, all of you patriots, all of you people who believe it's your choice and your body about what you put in it, right? They're still thinking we're the bad guys. While others amongst them who are suffering injuries, guess what? Guess what, Shelley? They're blaming you anyways. So if you didn't take it, they're blaming you. And if you didn't take it and they have problems, they're blaming you because you didn't stop them. You didn't give them enough information. You didn't tell them. Crazy business, folks. Crazy business. All right, oh man, who's up next on the Prepared Mind channel Monday Night Live? And it's our good friend Inigo Montoya with a $9.99 super chat. And he says, what has come to our country when we don't even have enough expectation of privacy to walk up to CEO, pew them in the back, and continue on with all of this manhunt drama? He's being completely facetious here, folks. Completely facetious. What has come to our country when we don't even have enough expectation of privacy to walk up to a CEO and pew them in the back and continue on without all this manhunt drama? Yep. I'm telling you, folks. Should this guy be a national hero? Well, look at St. George Floyd. Multiple arrested, convicted, thrown in prison felon. That's him. St. George Floyd. How many crimes do you think he committed that he was never caught for? Do you think he was ever caught for armed robbery or committed armed robbery and never got caught? Do you think he ever assaulted someone and didn't get caught? Do you think he ever murdered someone and didn't get caught? But he's a hero. He's a hero, folks. He was passing counterfeit cash and taking illegal drugs. How many drugs do you think he sold? How many women do you think he got strung out on drugs? I don't know, but there's a good chance. So this one guy, this big caterpillar-looking, hairy eyebrow-looking dude, right? He shoots one little CEO. I tell you, it's pretty brazen. And I don't know why he picked this one guy out. It still looks incredibly crazy. Incredibly crazy because that man was testifying about insider trading. By the way, we're just under 400 people live. I want to see it hit that 400. We're right there. Now, here's the deal. I don't think he did it. I think he is a patsy. That's what I think. I think the person that did it set him up. I think they knew all about this guy. I bet he had an FBI handler. I'm willing to bet I'll put 2 shiny nickels on it. I bet he was wearing a mask and he committed that crime, shot him. He left shell casings there with little messages that sounded like Mr. Eyebrows. Mr. Eyebrows has written his manifesto. He has his opinion. He liked the Unabomber's book. He is a Ivy League dropout piece of shit. He's a clown. So how hard would it be to make a rubber mask? One of these super latex, realistic rubber masks. Put some big ass, ridiculous eyebrows on it. And in one of the pictures you can see, it looks like he's got fake eyelids in it. Conspiracy theory? Really, how hard is it? right? The backpacks didn't match. Kind of reminds me of the Boston Bombers when those backpacks didn't match. Crazy business, folks. I don't think he did it. I think he's a patsy. I think he's being used. I'm sure his lawyer has told him, you're going to shut up, right? Who knows, folks? Who knows? The deep state is absolutely insane. If they're willing to go into a country like Syria and overthrow the government, if they're willing to go into a country like Ukraine and overthrow the government, do you think they're going to hesitate for a fucking second to wipe out one greasy little CEO who probably 7/8 of America, 9/10 of America, 95% of America are like, who gives a shit about him? United Healthcare fucks people over. They have one of the highest medical care rejection rates in the country for telling people, sorry, we're not going to take care of you. Insurance doesn't cover that, sorry. He's not going to get a lot of sympathy from people. Do I want people getting killed? No, I don't. Does this killing do anything to me? Yeah. I'll tell you what it does. It tells me that when I walk down the street, I need to keep an eye out on everyone. That's what it tells me. Because these little FBI cucks, these little anti-fights, these little BLM butt bums, they're dangerous. They're absolutely dangerous. Anyway, Nico Montoya, thank you so very much for that great super chat statement. And if you've got something to say, comments down below, but super chat button is right up there. Got to go there first. Oh, there's a lot of crazy shit going on, folks. International. And we're right there at 400. 400, bam. It touched it. We hit it 400 on Monday Night Live. That is amazing. Absolutely amazing, folks. And get this. You want to talk about a fucking amazing? Liz Piggy. That's right. The Republican who led the charge against the January 6 protesters, calling it an insurrection and that Trump was responsible for trying to overthrow the American government. She had her January 6 committee. They destroyed the evidence. They refused to release the evidence. Liz Piggy Cheney has now been put on notice. Oh, yes, folks. Liz Piggy has been put on notice. Well, first she lost her congressional seat. She got primaried and lost 2-1 in the Republican Party. Harriet Hagman, I think is her name. She is a hardcore bitch. But they got rid of Liz Piggy and got a real America First Republican in there out of Wyoming. Now, Liz Piggy's been put on notice. Trump says, and here's his quote, everybody on that committee for what they did, honestly, they should go to jail. They lied. They doctored video of Trump. They hid video of Trump where he was telling people not to do anything violent. This is before the violence even happened. They didn't release the 14,000 hours of video cam surveillance. They're still arresting old people right now for it, folks. Really. Liz Piggy is on notice, that bitch. But guess what she did? She came out and she threatened any government attorneys that try and come after her. They are going to face sanctions. Oh, yeah. She has gone right to attack mode. She's not apologizing. She's not leaving the country. She thinks she did no wrong when that bitch did a lot wrong. A lot. But get this. It gets crazier, folks. But wait, there is more, right? Wait, there's more. You want to know what the more part is? I'll tell you what the more part is. Joe Biden. That's right. Bojangles. He is reportedly considering pardoning the January 6th committee. A preemptive pardon for them. Unbelievable. He wants to pardon the committee. Well, you can't pardon them for doing their job. You can only pardon them preemptively, and I know that preemptive came up earlier. I wanted to save this one. A preemptive pardon, then he's admitting they committed crimes. He's admitted they're committing crimes. Well, if they've been pardoned, then they have to testify. They have to come into Congress if called and admit. They have to be deposed and admit what they did wrong. Admit all the things they did. So is Biden going to say, yeah, for the last 4 years, if you did anything wrong preemptively, you're pardoned? I don't think preemptive pardons can go, folks. I think this is too late, Biden, you lying sack of shit. You knew all along that this was a Pelosi setup, and that bitch needs jail time too. This is a Adam Klitstinger. This is every last one of the bastards. Liz Piggy, the famous one of them all. But Pelosi, she was in on it all. And who was responsible for unlocking all of the magnetic locks on the doors in Congress so that people could walk in and go on a tour? So that the police could open the door for people and say, come on in, check out Congress, and then they're going to arrest them. Oh, it's going to get nasty, folks. It is going to get nasty. Going to get nasty. I mean, and tonight, I'm waiting for it to kick off. I'm waiting for Uman to send me the oh shit, it just started note. And it could. Daniel Penny is acquitted. He saved and rescued men and women. He saved and rescued minority women. He saved and rescued at least one black woman from a tyrannical piece of shit, murderous, violent bastard. And get this, Steve Bannon wants to award Daniel Penny with the Congressional Medal of Honor. That's interesting. I don't know if that's possible. But expect riots, folks. And they're going to hand the blame to Trump. They're going to blame racism. They're going to blame Nazism. They're going to blame white supremacy, etc., etc., etc. Oh, I think so. Uh-oh. Luigi Mangione is filmed for the first time. Wait. I thought we already had video film of him. How can this be the first time? Oh, yeah. Looking real good there. I don't know if that's him, folks. Face looks a little bit different, but what do I know? I'm not a forensic investigator, right? How many different Joe Bidens have we seen with different ears, different chin, different eyes, different forehead, different height? Does anyone want to tell me it's not possible? Unbelievable, folks. Unbelievable. Yep, those are some big ass fucking eyebrows. Wow. Just wow. Daniel Penny, he's celebrating his not guilty verdict. And folks, the prosecuting attorney, the DA there, Alvin Bragg, the same piece of shit who's been going after Trump, went after Daniel Penny. And then I'm going to call it a woman, a serious left-wing liberal academic meat-headed lawyer. She was going after him, and she's let violent left-wingers go. Dropped all charges. Let them go. But if you're a Republican, you need to have we're gonna have to use you to set an example out there. Oh, it's gonna get stupid, folks. It really is. All right. What have I got here? Uh-oh. Okay. Let's see. Okay. I just got an anonymous report that a man in his early 40s, the JJJ is struck again. Okay, I'm going to leave it at that. We've got people all over the country, folks, and they're tired of this. It's getting crazy. It's getting stupid. It's not getting better. Thank you very much out there for that. Folks, what do you want to talk about? It's your show. It's Sunday Night Live. Nope, it's Monday Night Live, a special Monday night presentation. Okay, so let's do this. The maggot rhino rat, Senator Joni Ernst from Iowa. She's starting to feel the heat from us, from the Make America Great Again crowd, from the people who elected Trump. Trump survived getting shot through the frickin' ear, almost through the head. He battled and never gave up. We battled and never gave up. We called, we wrote, People got out and got active. They went to the polls. They volunteered. They went door to door. We got people to get out and vote. We told friends, family, coworkers, go vote and vote Trump. We explained ourselves, everything we did to win this election. And people like this piece of shit, Joni Ernst and Mitch McConnell, Turd Hole McConnell, and John Cornyn, and these other asswipe Republicans. They rode and continue to ride on the coattails of great Republicans of the past and President Trump, and then they want to shit on him. Right? Let me tell you about Joni Ernst. Nearly half of Biden's nominees, she gave a thumbs up and voted for. But she said she's going to meet with Pete Hegseth, who has been nominated to be the Secretary of Defense. She won't commit to supporting him, folks. So what I say is contact all the senators in your state. And I'll tell you what, contact her. Go to the Senate website, to Iowa, to the bitch herself, and get her email address, the contact phone number, or a contact message board. They are trying to ruin our nation, and she is trying to enrich herself on what Trump has done and what we have done. She wanted to make hay and make herself famous. Well, she's famous now. She truly is famous now. Let's keep her famous and keep the heat under her dumb ass. On fire. I tell you what, I'm on fucking fire. I've had it with these fucking people. Crazy shit going on. And we're well over 400 people, folks. Thank you very much. I am amazed. Monday Night Live, we're back. 420 people live. Share that internet address. And, man, let's do a super chat. What do you guys want to talk about? And Inigo Montoya is back with a 1999 super chat. And he says, I'm not condoning this exact hit. And he's talking about the United Healthcare CEO. And well, no, none of us are condoning anything. That was pure satire, man, and I appreciate it, right? All I'm saying is that vigilante justice is an excellent alternative to no justice at all. Sometimes the elites need to be reminded that they can be touched after all. Fuck around and find out. And I'll tell you what, Inigo, you are not alone. Now, I am talking and playing very nice because I'm on screen here. You guys see where I'm at. Certain things I can't say. Certain things I shouldn't say. Certain things I won't say. I would like to say a whole lot more on this topic. But calling for vigilante justice is a crime. Democrats do it all the time, including elected representatives like AOC and Mad Maxine Waters and Rashid Tlaib and the other Jihad Squad idiots. Right? Resorting to violence. That is exactly what the left does. Now, they call it justice, but they feel offended because you're a Republican and they think that justice is violently smashing you in the head or pushing a small Asian woman in front of a subway train so she gets run over, or walking down the street and punching a white woman in the head. That's not justice. Well, they think it is because they feel oppressed. Right? These white liberal fucksticks that want to ruin your life, your job, your career, your family, they think that's justice because they're offended by you. These trans people, they are offended that they were stupid enough to cut their own dicks off, ruin their lives by taking drugs, puberty blockers. They've ruined themselves, and so they think that justice is anybody that doesn't like them, accept them, promote them, and congratulate them for cutting their own dicks off. Well, they can get violent. And I've watched time and time again these disco ball licking fruitcakes threaten people for looking at them, for misgendering them. Misgendering is not a crime. They're not, the gender's correct. If it looks like a guy and sounds like a guy and it's wearing makeup, it's probably a guy. If it's got a hairy chest and tits, it's probably a guy. If it's got an Adam's apple, it's probably a guy. If it's got shoulders that look like he should be a linebacker, it's probably a guy. If he's got a deep voice, probably a guy. Growing a beard, a mustache, whiskers, a guy. That's not misgendering them. It's calling them something that they are, and they don't want to fucking hear it. So if they start getting at it, let me just ask you this question, folks. Number one, are you prepared? Do you have food? Food can be interrupted. Food supply. Water supply can be interrupted. Shelter, your home, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. Do you have that? Electricity, radio communications, right? Good, you're prepared. That's awesome. That's what we want. I want you to be prepared because chance favors the prepared mind. Now, having said that, if they're out there getting violent, what do we do? What do you do? What do you have a right to do? What is the expectation? Do you have a duty? Well, according to this, the U.S. Constitution and Declaration of Independence, not only do we have a right, but we have a duty to protect our country from all enemies, foreign and domestic. And these people are the sworn enemies of everything that makes America, America. They want to say that what they're after is justice. Let's see, assaulting other people is not justice. Assaulting unassociated people is not justice. Right? So we had a sheriff a couple of weeks ago, probably closer to 2 months ago, went into a judge's office. This is a sheriff, not a deputy, but the sheriff himself. Shot the judge to death because apparently there was some nasty stuff going on between that judge and the sheriff's daughter. That is a form of vigilante justice because the judge was involved in the crime. If I'm walking down the street, what a beautiful sunny day, and some dumb motherfucker comes and brains me upside the head with a bat because somebody else got choked in a New York subway, what the fuck do I have to do with that? I'm not the jury. I'm not the judge. I'm not Daniel Penny. I had nothing to do with it. I'm not the arresting officer. I'm nothing. That's not justice. That is just flat ass murder. It is unbelievable. So we need to be well aware, folks, that these people, they're not out to justice, right? The guy that shot the CEO of United Healthcare, if he shot him based on his manifesto, then that is a revolutionary document. It's not justice. That's revolution, because he's calling for a communist revolution. Justice is taking care of an evil person. If the courts don't do it and the police don't do it, then that's when vigilante justice is, in my opinion, an excellent alternative to no justice at all. Kind of a roundabout way to get there, but unlike Jen Psaki, I can circle back and get there. But the elites, they're scared now because, yeah, one of these lefties came after them. They've been telling Hillary. They've been telling Nancy. They've been telling Chuck Schumer. They've been telling these Democrats, you've got blood in your hands. They've even told the President of the United States, Joe Biden, you have blood on your hands. You're responsible for this. You're part of this. All right. So thank you, Inigo Montoya. Mr. Uman. 1 second. Woo! Boomer is in the house with a $20 super chat donation. Oh, he's going after the snowflakes. The snowflakes should become more acquainted with their best friends, the Islamists. For I'm sure the Islamists will do their best to accommodate them. Well, I tell you what, all those Syrians can go back to Syria now because Bashar al-Assad is gone. I think all those Syrians and people who support Syria and the Palestinians, they ought to go back there too. They ought to go back and see how the Islamists treat them. All of the LGBTQers for Syria and Palestine and Hamas. That snowflakes, I want them to become very acquainted. They'll be the first to go, folks. It's quite hilarious watching when some of these real terrorists, the extremists, the people who aren't just doing it because it's politically cool and expedient to be a protester, the ones who truly believe in their jihad against the West and America and the great Satan, they don't like the fruitcakes. But the fruitcakes are our enemy, and the Islamists are our enemy. So that should make the homos and the Islamist friends, right? Nope. No, it's going to get nasty, folks. I really think these snowflakes, though, should keep trying. They really should. And speaking of these weirdos, these fucking weirdos, right? Well, they've now been banned. Well, mostly. The LPGA, folks, that's the Ladies Pro Golfer Association, have banned a majority of the transgender golfers with a new policy in the 2025 season. So the Professional Golf Association for Women is now banning these transgenders. I think they should ban all of the fucking fruitcakes. But this is at least a decent start to ending the retardation of media and the theft against women's sports and women's rights, etc. Can you imagine? Right? I call all tranny men in women's sports the biggest fucking losers of them all. The biggest fucking loser. They're giant losers. They're losers in life. They're intellectual losers. They're political losers. They're human. They're fucking losers. They suck at sports. So then they go play against women to beat them. It'd be like me. It'd be like any of us. There's a difference between men and women. It's becoming more obvious all the time. Anyways, I don't think we need to accommodate the fruitcakes. Not a bit. Thank you, man. I don't think we're going to accommodate them at all. They don't deserve a bit. All right. Good golly, folks. Yeah, the LPGA. I think the colleges. How can you look at a guy pretending to be a girl and say, oh, yeah, go ahead and compete with the girls? And we've had serious injuries, women paralyzed, permanently injured, marred, maimed by men playing sports against them. Crazy. That's some crazy shit, folks. Now, this was interesting. I actually saw George Strait back in the early 90s. That's right. I put on a cowboy hat and some shit kickers and went to see George Strait at Arco Arena in Sacramento. And the Gateway Pundit has covered the king of country, George Strait, right? Because what did he do at a Las Vegas concert? Well, he did the Trump dance, folks. That's right. George Strait did the Trump dance. I tell you what, George Strait's got plenty of money. All his exes live in Texas. He just needs to live somewhere else to avoid them. But, right, that dance, the Trump dance, that dance is louder than words because dancing is thought of as an expression of happiness or an expression of pride. Are we allowed to have pride, man? Well, I'm proud as punch, proud as peach of George Strait doing the Trump dance in front of the crowd, and it's gone viral. It really has. That's good stuff. I love it. I absolutely love the fact that George Strait did the Trump dance. I think that's fucking great. What a move. I'm telling you, folks. What a move. Now, it's your show. It's Monday Night Live. What do you want to talk about? What's on your mind? What's your prediction? Your prognostication? What are your thoughts? What do you think's happening in our country, around the world? What do you think of World War III? What do you think of whistleblowers in Ukraine blowing the whistle on Hunter Biden, on the Democrat Party, about biolabs, bioweapons, talking about what they've been doing over there? Why the fuck do we want bioweapons labs in any other country anyways? Why do we want that? Why would we want that? So some third-rate, corner-cutting, money-saving moron builds a biolab for bioweapons research that isn't done properly. Hell, if you want anything passed, all you got to do is grease the building inspector in Ukraine and you're done. That makes perfect fucking sense. All it is, folks, is about laundering money and enriching themselves. We've all known it all along. That's what every loser, piece of shit politician is. All right, Mr. Uman, we got someone. Let's step on up with a super chat. And it's Miss Kathleen with a $10 super chat. Miss Kathleen. I got it. All right, Miss Kathleen, with a $10 super chat donation, you can do a question too. Go ahead and get a question into Uman there. Tell us what you think And I'll tell you what, I'm going to tell you. Oh, there we go. Says Miss Kathleen says, God bless you, John. We don't always see the same way, but I always love to hear your perspectives. I think it is a very smart thing to pay all of them to go to the rubble and gather them in all one place. Yeah, I do. I want everyone, all those screwballs overseas, get over there. Terrorists, you guys want Syria, you want the God, get over there and fight. Go to the Middle East, get the hell out of our countries, get the hell out of Europe, get the hell out of Canada. Leave us alone. We don't need you people. We don't want you. You don't like us. Get the fuck out. Now, I find this first part of the story more fascinating than your comment about all of them rumbling in the rubble. And that's, you said, we don't always see the same, but I love to hear your perspective. Thank you very much. I think that's incredibly important, folks. I don't expect you all to agree with me all the time or 100%. You may like some of my ideas. You may go, okay, that has some merit, some value, and you put that into your thoughts. This isn't about brainwashing or giving you guys marching orders or I know everything. I just have my thoughts. And I like to try and talk about things differently. Sometimes I get overly provocative because I want people to think. Right? A lot of the stuff I say, I don't necessarily believe. I just say it because it provokes thought. And that's what free speech is about. We need to provoke more thought, not less thought. We need to have people willing to engage others, not feeling scared and silenced. Right? We need to have more ideas out there. And if someone has a little bit of an idea, the next person could add something to it. Maybe someone could do some more research and add even more. And yet again, ultimately, a small concept can end up having a large philosophical and fact-based support system under it. Right? And we've got that now with Trump. He's like, you know what? They tried playing this gotcha game. Well, you're separating families, sending people back. And both Tom Homan, the new border czar, and Trump are like, no, we're not going to separate families. We're going to send them all back. There's no need. But what about the children? Well, they said, well, what do you mean, what about the children? Democrats have lost over 300,000 foreign children. Somehow in this country, they've lost them. Lost the children. Right? And so we've thought about that, and we've kicked ideas around for weeks. Ultimately, someone finds a way to explain it perfectly. And then they share that, and it goes back out, and we think about it some more. So anyways, I'm glad that you expressed your thoughts that way. We don't always see eye to eye, but it's good to have the conversations. It's good to do that. It's good to take the other side of the argument and see if you can see their way a little better. Anyways, I really appreciate the great support, Miss Kathleen. I really appreciate your thoughts there. And yeah, let's send all of these loser foreigners back to the rubble, and they can rumble with each other over there. Not in our country, not in our streets. I don't believe they respect and understand anything. Now, speaking of rumbling, let us continue if we shall. Representative Byron Donalds, strong as steel Republican Byron Donalds. He got into it with ABC's Martha Raddatz, talking about Trump's appointees and how they plan on protecting the nation, securing the border, upholding the law, etc. And Byron doesn't take any shit, folks. And he loves to stomp the media with facts. Facts. Right? And around the world and in this nation, Trump, you may not agree with him, but he's got people's respect. And around the world, they may not like him, but they certainly respect him. Over the weekend, he went to the grand reopening of the cathedral, Notre Dame, that was burned by, I'm going to say, radical, crazy Muslims, because they've been burning churches all across Europe for years and years now. And it's fucking awful. So they refurbished Notre Dame, Our Lady. And that's a beautiful thing. And all the world leaders kissed his ass. They wanted to shake his hand. They wanted to say hi. They wanted his attention. They wanted to wave at him. Even Jill Biden looked over at Trump and gave him a rather disturbing grin of, I don't know if it's affection or admiration or lust, but Trump turned it into a funny meme and, called his new cologne, fight, fight, fight. You'll smell so good, even your enemies will want to have a piece of you. Anyways, it was literally, folks, some funny shit. But Trump is respected. Anyone who is on Trump's team, they're going to be respected. That doesn't mean they're going to get an easy ride. None of us will, folks. We are in for the fight of our lives. Fight of our lives. And people like Byron Donalds, who happens to be, by the way, a black man, a very large, intelligent, articulate black man who's not going to take any shit off of some fucking media mouthpiece. So good stuff there. God bless him. That dude's awesome. I love listening to Byron Donalds. All right. We got a lot more to talk about here, folks. It's your show, though. It is Monday Night Live. We've got over 400 people here live right now, so share that internet address. Hit the thumbs up button if you haven't already, and be a subscriber. Then you can make a comment in the comments section. Whew, I tell you, folks, the fruitcakes, though, they aren't going to give up either. We are in for the fight of our lives. In fact, the Joe Biden anti-American regime, headquartered currently in the White House for another 1 month and 11 days, they're celebrating a special Pride Day. Did you know about that over the weekend? No. It's not just that they get a Pride Month where they can celebrate having anal sex and celebrate being treated like trash by one another and celebrate being infected with infectious diseases. They get a whole month of that. Well, now they're celebrating pansexual and pan-romantic Pride Day. How much fucking pride do these people have? Identifying with and using your sexual preference as the thing you want everyone to notice, don't you find that rather just disgusting? These abhorrent, ridiculous, fucking stupid. It's sick, but that's who these people are. That's what's important to them. Taking a boner in the ass. That's them. Anyways, Biden, the responses to this move, this pansexual and pan-romantic Pride Day, he's been brutalized on social media. I think America is finally done with all the woke, all the DEI, all the critical race theory, all the fruitcakes, all the minor attracted pedophiles. I think America is done with them. I sure hope they are. I really do. I hope they're done with these fucking people, because I am. I've had enough of their bullshit. But, America should just be America instead of going after and protecting special groups and labeling other groups as bad when they're not. In fact, we got this interesting story that popped out as we roll up on the 90-minute mark, folks. 90 minutes on a Monday night with 400 people and more live. It is your show. Super chat button there. Questions up here. I'll make you famous. And for now, folks, the Department of Justice. That's right. Biden's Department of Justice has released a report. They investigated the Memphis Police Department, folks. Memphis, Tennessee. And the city of Memphis. That's right. The city and the police department. And their major finding, folks, is that the majority black police force in a city that is led by black Americans, as in they're in positions of power and in positions of law enforcement, the DOJ has found that they, quote, unlawfully discriminate against black people. So I guess all of the Republicans aren't bad. All of the white people aren't bad. All of the white government. I guess, what, does power turn people into racists? So cops have badges and guns, and therefore they become racist against blacks? And city councilmen and mayors they get some power and they become racist against blacks and persons of color and Native Americans and whoever the fuck else is out there. I mean, so who is responsible for this unlawful discrimination against black people in the city of Memphis and the Memphis Police Department? Tell me. Is it the police who are racist? Is it the leadership that's racist? Or is it the criminals that are criminal and they're getting caught? Could it be that the people in Memphis know who the criminals are and they're arresting them? And it just happens to look right like it's racist. But you can expect that type of shit, folks, to continue. So Trump, if he can get a hold, if he can get his hands around the Leviathan in Washington, D.C., the deep state, the swamp monster, and at least tear a few of its heads off, right, and fire some jackasses. Oh, and he's going to be firing people. Have no fear. He will be firing the head of the FBI, Christopher Wray, who is a lying sack of shit. He is an un-American, unconstitutional-minded piece of shit, Christopher Wray. He can go all the way down that road, make a left, and then fuck all the way off. That guy, I've had it with his shit. He will be fired. Kash Patel has taken his job, and the Democrats are like, oh, no. He was put in there. He's supposed to stay in 10 years. He's not going to be done till the end of 2020. Nope, sorry. No, that's not how it works. You can be fired. And Trump is going to fire him. In fact, he was interviewed, and the lady's like, well, if you're going to put Kash Patel in there, what's going to happen with Christopher Wray? He's like, well, someone's going to take his job, right? It is on, folks. It's on. The Department of Justice in Washington, at least it'll be cleaned up. All of these cities, they need to clean themselves up as well. And any federal crimes, folks, there are federal attorneys and federal offices in every state. They should only be enforcing federal law. But that being said, under the Department of Justice and the FBI and the Attorney General's office, they should go after the fucking criminals. It may look like it's political persecution. It may look like it's racism, but it's going to be criminals that are going to be hunted down. And Joe Biden and his pardons is not going to help. It's not going to help America, folks. It may help a few people escape justice, but I wonder if vigilantism is going to have its role to play. I think, Jay-Z, rapper Jay-Z is now being named as a defendant in a lawsuit claiming that Jay-Z and P. Diddy raped a 13-year-old girl. These people, they deserve a little bit of justice, folks. I'm not calling for vigilante justice, but at some point, people are gonna put an end to this shit. They put an end, and I understand that idea that Inigo Montoya brought to everyone's attention. I understand that, right? When people can't get justice, they'll get it satisfied themselves. We've had a number of judges and district attorneys and lawyers been shot lately, and sadly, I'm all out of fucks to give about them. But I'm not going to glamorize it or glorify it, but I'm going to say, stand by. It's going to get ugly. And I think most of the killing is going to be done by Democrats, folks. Most of the illegal killing, that is. All right, let's have some fun here. We're at the 90-minute mark, an hour and a half in on this Monday Night Live. We're back at the zoo, and it's your turn. What do you want to talk about? You hit that button up there. You get right down here. And hey, it's Inigo Montoya back again with another $9.99 super chat. And he says, I've tried to lay low in my Loudoun County, Virginia town and Facebook. Just going to stop right there. Inigo Montoya lives in the county that produced the biggest exposure the nation got to transgender teenagers using the opposite sex's bathroom. And they had at least 2 that I know of sexual assault cases by transgender boys inside the girls' locker rooms / bathrooms. Loudoun County lied. They lied to parents. They lied to the press. They lied to lawmakers. They tried covering up, hiding criminal behavior, criminal actions of these trans fruitcakes. So now let's go back to this. Inigo Montoya lives in Loudoun County. He says, I've tried to lay low in my Loudoun County, Virginia town, and Facebook. Yesterday, wifey pointed out that I put up Christmas lights for 3 hours with my, quote, "Did you miss me" shirt on. And was that a Trump shirt, I imagine? Did you miss me? Talked to every single neighbor. That's good, man. I'm glad you did. You don't have to be obnoxious. I kind of act a little obnoxious here, so a little more entertaining. You don't have to be obnoxious. You don't have to be loud. You don't have to be threatening. You just have to talk and be willing to talk and be willing to take a few arrows. I don't want you to get hurt. I don't want real arrows, but they're going to throw some shit at you. I hope they don't throw real shit at you. They're going to say some mean things. They're going to tell you you're stupid. They're going to make some shit up. They're going to deny. They're going to accuse you of what you say Biden and Pelosi and the Democrats do. All of that. But there are people out there that will listen. Right? Like Miss Kathleen, right? Doesn't always agree. We don't always agree, but we can get each other thinking. So, Inigo, I'm proud of you, man. I see you changed your picture from Inigo Montoya to a stack of gold. I sure hope you've got at least 20 times that in gold. That would make me happy to know that you're well taken care of that way. Gold and silver, by the way, today shot up like a freaking rocket very nicely. They stayed within their ascending wedge, ascending pattern. It's looking crazy, folks, because there's so much going on behind the scenes. I can't even talk about it enough. But since I don't have a degree in gold and silverology, I don't talk about it every single day. But folks, it's coming. There's going to be hell to pay for all the sins that have been committed by the Treasury and the federal government and the Federal Reserve private bank system. There's going to be hell to pay for what they've done. Trump is going to do what he can to try and help it, folks. But when you got a patient just about dead on the table in the ICU, intensive care unit, there's only so much you can do. And if the thing can be saved, well, it may take a good long time to get there. And in the meantime, folks, the Democrats are not giving up. They are not giving up. They're not going to quit. They're not going to go away. Thank you, Inigo, very, very much. They're not going to go away. Trump is going to try, though, folks. He's calling for peace, folks. Trump is calling for peace. He's calling for an immediate ceasefire and calling for immediate negotiations between Ukraine and Russia to, quote, end the madness. Now, what do you think of that? Is this war been nothing but madness? I think it has been. From firing fucking mortars and rockets at nuclear power plants in Zaporizhia to the Nazi brigades of Zelensky committing or attempting to commit genocide on ethnic Russians who have lived in Ukraine for decades and generations. It's incredible. It is madness. Absolute madness. So anyway, Zelensky, folks, he reacted and listed his conditions. Well, so did the Kremlin. So did the Russians. They've got their conditions. But sorry, little Z-man, little belly dancing, butt jiggling, skinny jeans wearing, fruitcake, making money the old-fashioned way at the Greyhound bus station type of guy. You are the loser. You don't get to dictate the terms of the surrender. You can ask. And of course, that's what you do. You ask for all you can. But when you're the loser, and Zelensky and Ukraine are the losers, you are the loser. You get the dirty end of the stick. And I think Zelensky's in big trouble, folks. There's a lot of discussion about him being exiled. And Trump is talking about getting the United States of America out of NATO. NATO's been put on notice again. America should not be paying 2/3 of the bill for NATO, and certainly not taking any fucking threats off of NATO. In my opinion, at this point, fuck the European Union and NATO if they want to play these games. They are nothing, the European governments and NATO, nothing more to me than a mouthpiece for the World Economic Forum, the banking cartels, and of course, the aristocrats and royals who are trying to rule over us all once again. And you can eat the bugs and be happy with owning nothing. Ooh, man, who's up next with a super chat question? We've got Boomer, and he's back with another $20 super chat donation. And he says, they once tried having a pride parade in Moscow, Idaho. They once tried having a pride parade in Moscow, and the mayor had them all arrested. So never mind Pride Day and Pride Month. I tell you what, the Russians aren't having any of that. They don't want any of it. Now, they're not saying you can't be gay. What they're saying is you won't be gay publicly. You won't hold pride parades. You won't have drag queens out in the street. You won't have drag queens in the schools. You won't have gay churches. And folks, someone sent me a bunch of pictures of these rainbow wearing pastors who go to church, and they almost look like drag queens with the fucking eye makeup and blush and lipstick with their beards, preaching the words of Jesus Christ in church. Unfucking believable. No. God loves you enough to forgive you, but you got to quit being a flaggot. Good golly. Yeah, never mind Pride Day and Pride Month. No, Russia's not having it. Putin, in fact, is becoming more conservative with respect to their traditions and their culture. There will be none of that. And if you're an illegal alien, you're kicked out. There are an awful lot of Muslim Russians, folks. But the Muslims in Russia, guess what they are first and foremost? Russians. They're Russians first and foremost. That's what they are. And if you want to practice your religion, you do it in your mosque or you do it at home, but you don't do it on the street. You don't put your fucking prayer blanket down in the middle of an airplane or the middle of a subway or in the middle of a fucking street or sidewalk and try and make people go around you. These people are out of their fucking gourds doing that in England and Ireland and Scotland and in Europe, where hundreds of them will go out on the street knowing it's time for a prayer, stand in the middle of the street, put their fucking prayer rug down, and then stop traffic while they bang their fucking head off of the ground. That's not going to happen here in Florida. I'll tell you that. What a world. Boomer, thanks a lot, brother. Bam. Woo. Yes, and speaking of this, right? Bashar al-Assad, former leader of Syria, been toppled. He and his family went to Moscow. He did not get the Saddam Hussein treatment. He did not get the Muammar Gaddafi treatment. He didn't get that. He's got real asylum. Look out, folks. Look out. Let's do another one. Who's up next, Mr. Human? We've got bump, bump, ba-dum, bump. Chin Music's in the house. And he says, we have $10 trillion in short-term bonds that have to be rolled over during Trump's term. This has been done intentionally. Well, let's talk about the bond market briefly. I don't want to get in the weeds too deep with you guys, but bonds, T-bills, treasury bills, treasury bonds, all these different terms, essentially the government's borrowing money from you. You give them money, they give you a bond that's supposed to pay back a certain percentage guaranteed, and you're supposed to get more percentage longer term. But when it's inverted, when the yield curve inverts, that means you're getting more money doing short-term bonds. Short-term bonds. So in any event, what's happening is a lot of these bonds are coming due. The government needs more money. They got to issue more bonds. They got to have buyers. Well, China and Russia and many countries are no longer buying U.S. T-bills. They're not buying them. So who's going to buy them? Who's going to buy them? Well, let's just say in order to get people to buy them, they need the interest rates to be attractive, right? If you're being offered a bond at 5% and inflation's 10%, well, that's return-free risk, not risk-free return. See, T-bills used to be risk-free. Now the government could default on you. So now it's risk. There's a lot of risk. And if you're losing 10% to inflation and only getting 5%, well, you're not getting a return on your investment. You're losing. So it's return-free risk. And that's bad, right? So they're going to need to make them look better. So they need to raise the interest rates they're offering. But at the same time, we've got to refinance these bonds, right? That means the government needs to lower its interest rates. That means that the Federal Reserve needs to do that. The higher they keep the interest rates, the more our taxes go to a bank to pay interest on money that wasn't created. They didn't mine any gold. They didn't mine any Bitcoin. They didn't mine jack shit. They just made some electronic digits on a computer. It's fresh fucking air. We're paying interest on fresh air. I wish the government would come to me and say, John, we need $1 trillion for special projects. Will you loan us $1 trillion? And I could go on my handy dandy phone and I could type in 1 trillion and hit the send button. That's all that's all the Federal Reserve does. That's all they do. And you get interest. I'll take 3% on $1 trillion for the next year. 3% of $1 trillion, folks, sounds like $30 billion to me. Not a bad move. Yeah, well, anyways, we have $10 trillion in short-term bonds. They're going to come due. They need to lower interest rates to get people or to stop paying so much. That's going to cause gold to go up. No one wants these treasury bills. They don't trust them. So the government's going to have to print money and buy their own. That means the Federal Reserve, but it's a shit show. It's been done intentionally. Trump's going to be made to look like he's the bad guy. We're going to have a lot more inflation, folks. It is coming. It is nothing that Trump has done. It's what the government has done. It is what the Democrats have done. It's what the Rhino Republicans have done. It's what all the Republicans done and what they have all done for decades. Shit is going to hit the fan. Shit is going to hit the fan, folks. I sure hope you are prepared for all of the madness. We could end up with World War III getting even more raucous and loud with something started with Iran, and we may not even give a fuck because we're going to have problems here with rioting in the streets and other major issues. Anyways, Chin, thank you, brother, very much. Pow, and we got your super chat earlier as well. And folks, what a Monday. What a start to this freaking week. Got my haircut today. Got all cleaned up. Anyways, we got a sneak peek, folks. We're getting lots of sneak peeks. The bond market, gold and silver, what's going to happen in Syria, what's going to happen in Israel, what's going to happen in Iran, what's going to happen in the Ukraine. We're getting a lot of sneak peeks. But Trump also gave up a sneak peek that's going to be talked about in his inaugural address that's upcoming, January 20th. Here's what he said, and I want you to think about this and tell me, think about it. You can put it in the comments. You can do a super chat with it. Right? I'll make you famous right here. Anyways, he says, quote, "It's going to be a message of unity." I don't think that his unifying message is going to be taken that way by the liberals. They're going to see it as an attack. But he does, I'm sure, is when we hear the message, when we're like, yeah, we're all Americans. We should all be on the same team. We should all be pulling the same direction. We should all give a shit about our country, our borders, our economy, our food, our military, our children, our schools, our police, our citizens, our rights. our individual states, our collective statehood, right? It should be about that. But it's not going to, folks. We'll hear it that way, but the left will not. The deep state's going to hear we're being attacked. Trump went on to say that a lot of executive orders are going to be signed immediately. Now, there's no time to waste for Trump. No time to waste. Trump needs to undo all of Biden's destruction that he did with executive orders. Now, I'm no fan of executive orders, folks. I don't like the president having the authority and power to do as much as he does with the stroke of a pen. Now, Washington, D.C. exercises original jurisdiction over all federal lands, forts, arsenals, dockyards. Section 1, Clause 8. Article 1, Section 8, Clause 3. 17. Fuck. I guess those scotches are still working. Anyways, Article 1, Section 8, Clause 17, right? Where they make the rules. So inside Washington, D.C., that's why the January 6th protesters can be held for 4 fucking years and not even have a trial. Because you have no rights, according to them. Even though you're supposed to be in the United States of America, the United States government is something altogether quite different. Anyways, there's no time to waste. I think Trump has 18 months. And then it's going to be 6 months of campaigning where the Democrats are going to lie, cheat, and steal again. He's got 18 months to tell the country we need to be unified. 18 months to roll back everything Biden did. 18 months to clear out as much of the deep state as he can. 18 months to fight off the inflation that's going to be coming. The destruction, the madness, the stupidity. 18 months. 18 months. So we're getting a sneak peek, folks. But he's let a lot of cats out of the bag. I think it's more like a sneak fucking sandwich that he shoved in everyone's faces and said, this is what you're going to eat. And we're going to be eating a lot of shit, folks. Trust me on that. A lot of shit's coming. And it is, folks. It's a Monday. You know, it's the 9th of December. By the way, Saturday was the 7th of December, Pearl Harbor Day. And it was a reminder again, how we can be attacked. How the government, if they're not prepared, can be caught unawares. How the government can also be a participant in it. A participant in it. And what I mean by that is a lot of people still believe to this day that the United States government knew the Japanese were coming. They knew that they were going to bomb Pearl Harbor, and they waited and allowed it to happen. Anyways, let's get back to some current events right now. Luigi Mangione, the supposed killer, the alleged killer, not smiling so much now, the alleged killer of the CEO of the United Healthcare, he's facing charges, folks, 5 charges, including illegal gun possession. But guess what he is not being charged with? Murder. The man walks up to, allegedly, I still don't think it's him. I think it's someone else who is wearing a Luigi Mangione face mask, because the gun they're showing doesn't have a silencer on it. The media is showing a gun that does not have a silencer. In any event, he walks up with a gun, shoots a man in the back. The man falls down. He cycles, racks the slide, rechambers around, walks up, gives him assassinations, kiss goodnight, and no murder charge. Man, was he killed in New York City? Was it New York City? Yeah, New York frickin' City. Now, if you're a criminal threatening to kill everyone on a fucking subway and you use your hands to restrain a deranged fucking killer or would-be killer, you're going to face murder charges. But if you're a pulled face in your face on camera with a gun, cold-blooded fucking assassin, no murder charge. That is Democrat bullshit right there, my friends. Bullshit. All right, let's have some fun. Oh man, who's up next? What do we got? It's Sticks Fan. I guess if you're our age, we all know who Sticks is, with a $10 super chat donation. Come sail away with me, Sticks Fan. He says, John, it was reported when the CEO was shot that the shooter tossed his gun and phone and were found. Yet today they say he was caught with the gun on him. Thoughts? I'm going to tell you, Sticks Fan, they're full of shit. They're liars. They're full of shit. They're full of shit. They make shit up. They expect us to forget the other stories, and they're full of shit. Tossed his gun and his phone, and yet they were found. It's incredible how the government cannot find the leaders of BLM who have promoted terrorism. The people like George Soros and Alex Soros and their NGOs that have financed the terror attacks on other nations and the United States of America. They can't seem to figure that out and find them. They can't seem to find anybody that commits a crime that benefits the Democrats. But if you throw your gun in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, the government will go find it. Anyways, whether they found your gun or not, they're going to find your gun. Yeah, they caught him with the gun on him. Why is he carrying the gun on him? He's already done his job. He tossed his phone. So this guy is a patsy, or he's the biggest fucking moron on the planet. Considering he's a left-wing Democrat, being a moron and not understanding anything makes a lot of sense. I mean, he could watch movies, or there's cop shows and lawyer shows everywhere on crime. There's true crime shows. You can go watch those and learn how to try and not get caught committing a crime. You can buy a pair of shoes that everyone else has, so you don't leave any shoe prints that are unique. You can buy shoes that are way too big. You can buy shoes that are way too small. And when you're done, you dispose of those shoes where they won't be found. And if you need to get rid of the gun, you take it apart and cut it in little pieces and throw it in 30 different places, And your phone, you buy a burner phone. You buy a burner phone, right? And then you take it, you wipe all your fingerprints off it when you're done, and you hand it to a kid for a few minutes and let them get their fingerprints all over it. Or to get chocolate and boogers all over it. And then you take it and throw it in the water, right? So if they find it and they manage to find it and they manage to get fingerprints on it, they're not yours. Why would you, right? In other words, this guy's a giant moron, or he's being framed and he's a fucking patsy. Yeah, I don't buy any of this. I buy that the guy is a ding-dong, that he wrote a manifesto. I buy that he's a lot of things, but I'm thinking he wasn't the killer. Because this whole part about him racking extra rounds, trying to chamber the final kill shot, so that there were extra rounds laying on the ground, extra brass casings, that had his unique message written on them. Just one of them wouldn't have been as big a deal, but every single either empty shell casing or a round of ammunition that had a little message wrote on it, it just pointed more fingers back at Mr. Eyebrows, right? It was like, he's the one. Look him up. Put on a mask, do some really stupid shit, right? Frame a patsy. I wonder if he's going to have a little accident. But Nancy Pelosi, she's breathing a sigh of relief. You know what I'm saying to you? Anyways, thank you, Sticks Fan. I'm glad you spoke up on that one. Caught with the gun on him. The gun he threw away. Surprise, surprise. And Cyber Hana is in the house with a $20 super chat donation. I hope you've been well. And this is what she has to say. He says, he shot the guy twice in front, I thought, then in the back, This is why I don't comment immediately. There's so much I'm learning and the world turns on its head. I don't know. Okay, so the video I saw was pretty explicit. The CEO dude walked down the sidewalk. The assassin stepped up onto the sidewalk behind him, turned, shot him in the back. The guy fell, spun around, hit the wall, crashed. The guy racked the slide a few times, put down some more evidence for the police to find conveniently, and then went on to cap him off. Now, I didn't really look close enough to see if they capped him in the head or the body, in the chest or the back. I don't know. But the first shot was square in the back. Shot him while he was walking away. Interesting stuff. You would think if you don't want to get caught, you can get a little, for a lot of pistols, you can get an attachment, has a little bag, so that as the brass ejects, it goes in a little bag, catches it, so you don't get caught. So there is no evidence. So by putting his little favorite political sayings, right, on his cartridges, he's asking to get caught. Who the fuck would do that unless they wanted to get? And if you want to get caught, you do the assassination right there. You lay the gun down, sit down on the sidewalk, wait for the police to show up and take all the credit. If you've written a manifesto and you want to start doing that and encourage others, then you do that. You don't run off and anyways, it's fucking asinine. Everything from the left is asinine. And it's going to get worse, folks. It's really going to get worse. They're not going to get better. They're not going to get smarter. They're going to get stupider. It's going to be more obvious. It really is. Let's see. You remember this chick. Her name was Taylor Lorenz. She liked to out people, get them in trouble, try and get them fired. Disgraced. Calling her disgraced is really a compliment. But she followed the suspect in the murder of the United Healthcare CEO, Brian Thompson, on social media. Oh, so Taylor Lorenz was a follower of Mr. Eyebrows. Mr. Eyebrows, Luigi Mangione. So they were friends? Very interesting. Very interesting indeed, folks. Oh, how things turn. I wonder how many friends were FBI agents. All right, man, what do we have rolling here as the show comes? And Big Dan the Man is back. Holy cow, with another $50 super chat donation. That means, folks, we're 2 minutes from the end of the show. I get to end on another shot of scotch. I want to thank everybody for showing up. An incredible audience, folks. As high as 440 people live on a Monday night live. Thank you, Mr. Erickson. Good golly. I could use this, folks. It has been one hell of a day. It's going to be a hell of a week. We got a lot of surprises upcoming. Are you prepared? Down the hatch, Semper Fi to you, Dan. And thank you, sir. Oh, whoo, whoo, oh. Can't get enough of that stuff. Oh, good golly. Hot. He says, good boy, or good show, boy. The country will normalize here shortly, and our fight is just beginning. Semper Fi and evening to you, sir. You bet. The country's normalizing right now. That is a great expression. A great expression. The country is normalizing, and our fight is just beginning. The country is normalizing, and it's going to cause the radicals, wackos to freak out. The same people that overthrew the government in Ukraine, that overthrew the government in Syria, they overthrew our government in 2020 and cemented it in the inauguration of 2021 by putting their puppet, Joe Biden, in office. They failed. Trump won. We won. America won. The fight is not over, though, folks. It is just now beginning. Folks, chance favors the prepared mind. Get prepared fully, but food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. Go to thepreparedmind.club and look at what we have listed there, things you should get prepared with. You may have missed an item. You may not have thought something was important. You may see something you like. At the very least, folks, right? Make sure you can deal with the people in your neighborhood because they're going to be the biggest threat to you, me, and all of us. Chance favors the prepared mind. Aren't you glad you are a prepper? Godspeed, Semper Fi.